Hey guys, it's Dan here from Cry Noir. How's it going? It's Sunday, the hair's huge, and it's devlog day. Week 1, this is it. We've started making the game. So I suppose I should tell you all what we're actually making. The project title at the moment is Lights On. The main reason for that is because it was the last thing I did before I saved for the first time. It got dark, I turned the lights on, I was like, shit, I should save this. Lights on. That was it. The plan is to make a top-down twin stick shooter. They'll also work with mouse and keyboard controls. It won't be like a quasi top-down, you know, where it's sort of a 55-degree angle or something, where you can say it will literally be completely top-down. I do have an extra mechanic in there that's going to help it stand out. I don't really want to talk about that now, that's a surprise, but that will come in later on. It's going to be fundamental to the gameplay, very much in, like, say for instance in the way that in Fez, the way that the world rotates is a fundamental aspect of the game, or in the way that you can play with time in other games in Braid, or the way that, you know, you can play with gravity in other games and stuff. So it will have like an extra little mechanic in there, but that's going to come later on once I've worked out how to do it. First thing I realised immediately when making this game was I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I kind of thought I did, you know, but as soon as I actually sat down at the computer and said, right, let's crack on with this one, my mind went blank and I was like, I need to put something about variables I need to put in there, and yeah, I remembered hearing like some really good advice years ago, and I can't for the life of me remember who told me. It might be very common knowledge or something like that, but it's always stood me in good stead. That if you're doing a big project and you don't know what to do or how you're going to do it or accomplish it, you should always start with the things that you do know how to do. So you just start doing the bits you know and kind of whittle away at those, and then those bits go, and then you can deal with the more complicated stuff or the bits you don't know kind of as and when they crop up. And the idea is that by the time you get to those stages, you'll sort of be in the flow and you'll start to move, and you know, you'll start to get an idea of what you're doing and how things all relate to each other, and generally you'll find those things come a little bit easier. So that was what I did. I started out with some placeholder sprites. I was like, well, I know how to do placeholder sprites, that's fine. So I did that, and I knew how to set up some basic sprites for sort of the enemies and for the player and things like that. So I got those in, that was fine. Managed to do that without any major issues. Created a player object. So right, I know all of these things, I assigned the sprites, I did all that. And I was like, right, okay, so next thing, controls. We need to get some sort of movement. Okay, I'm not too sure about exactly how I'm going to go about doing that. I know what the end result is, but I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do about that. But they're going to have to move around the room. So next thing, well, I'll set up a room, put a player in it. And even just doing little things like that, it was starting to get my brain working and getting back into the flow of things. I was like, right, so I need the viewport, but I need to work out the room size, and I need to work out what scale I'm working in, and all these little kind of things that get your mind kind of working in that sort of way. Well, I already kind of knew how to get, just from my own playing around, I already kind of knew how to get a sprite to rotate just to follow the mouse. Just like, well, okay, that's step one. So I did that. I got the sprite rotating and moving and following the mouse. Then after that, I was like, right, so now we need to move the sprite. It's generally two lines of thought. Some have, both of them have advantages and disadvantages. Some people kind of go for the kind of, some people, I'll try not to get too technical. I mean, most of you, if you're interested, you'll know what I'm on about. If you're not, then you won't care. Moving in like a 45-degree angle, you end up moving at twice the speed. And so if you're moving at 3 miles an hour that way and 3 miles an hour that way, it doesn't work that you would also move 3 miles an hour that way. You will cover the same. It's hard to explain. Anyway, so I did some more digging. I managed to find, you know, a way of doing it so that you just basically set a variable of speed. So the character's speed is a variable. And I thought, oh yeah, actually I need to do that anyway later on, because I have some other plans for the character getting faster at certain moments during the game. You see, this is what I mean about, like, kind of start doing the things you do know, and then start tackling little bits that you're maybe not too sure about, and then that'll start feeding everything else. And then immediately I started thinking, all right, so I'm going to need to separate this all out into scripts as well, which I knew I would eventually be doing. But when you tackle a sort of a reasonable sized job, and you just try and think of it as a whole, you've got no hope of doing it. You just have to start at the little bits you do know, start working and working. So then immediately I was cutting all the code out the step event, setting up movement scripts and doing all that kind of stuff. So this is where we're at now so far. And without further ado, I suppose I'll just show you on the old computer machine a file exactly what we've got so far. Okay, so here we go. We've got the very basic placeholder sprites for the character, and we've also got a little bullet, which is a blue one, and then we've also got some enemy malarkey here that I'm going to use later on. We haven't come around to that yet. Backgrounds is fairly simple, it's just a grey background at the moment. I've started laying things out in scripts as well so far, so we've got input scripts and keyboards and gamepads and stuff, and some basic objects. So without further ado, let's show you the magic. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a little bit of rotation-y, and then we've got some movement as well. So this will work perfectly fine with the thing, so we can go like that. Unfortunately, there's no collision yet, so that's unfortunately a thing that needs to be added. And then we've also got some firing as well, fiery firer. So we can do that now. And then also, if I plug in a gamepad, theoretically, it will ignore it. Okay, so a few technical hitches there. I've gone over to using a wired controller rather than the wireless one for many different reasons. But anyway, and when I plugged it in, it kept saying it was player 2 when it wasn't, so GameMaker wouldn't pick it up. But anyway, it's here now. So as you can see, we now have complete control using a 360 controller, and that should theoretically work using all the controllers. I don't know, a gamepad's a gamepad as far as GameMaker is concerned, I think. So we have that. Now we have a slight issue with the firing now, in that when you fire the trigger, it just fires off like basically a never-ending stream. And if you start rotating whilst it's doing that, it does this really weird, bizarre kind of thing which I need to sort of fix, but you know, that's fine. It does look quite cool. I might even maybe try and replicate that with some sort of weapon of some sort, but yeah, it's not really ideal for bullets. It does work as long as you don't sort of rotate while firing, but other than that it's fine. But yeah, we kind of have a bit of movement now. We have a bit of gameplay, and it's going alright. Some of you might wonder why I'm using GameMaker 1.4 instead of the new GameMaker 2. I'm sort of wondering that, particularly since I bought GameMaker 2. The main reason is because I like GameMaker 1.4. I just like it. I'm not a big fan of this new tabletop design and the node system and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't a big fan of it when I was working with Unreal. So I much kind of prefer this one, and plus I also know how this one works better than I know how GameMaker 1.4 works, GameMaker 2 works. So yeah, so there we go. So this is where we're up to so far. Nothing major, but we have, you know, a basic bit of movement and a bit of controls, and away we go. Oh, you'll also notice that the bullets, the rounds aren't coming from his gun. The main reason for that is because when it's on the control pad like this, it doesn't really matter. That's not such a big deal. But if I unplug the controller and it doesn't skit out on me, there we go. We take control back with the mouse and keyboard, right? Okay. If I fire it like that, you notice that the bullet is going straight to where the mouse cursor is, right? Going straight to where the point of the mouse cursor is. And basically what was happening is that if I was getting it to fire out of where the gun is, it would go past the edge of the mouse cursor. It wouldn't connect up the two. So although it looked better at the sprite end, it didn't look better at the mouse end. So you know, the cursor end. And now if I put like if I put some sort of like targeting thing on there, so people that are playing with a mouse and keyboard can like point at where they want to shoot and stuff, it'll look crap if the rounds don't go to where that is. So I think I'm going to have to either do some more whiz-bangery to try and fix that, or I might just draw the sprite so that the gun is in the centre of the sprite, and then we'll go from there. And that's week 1 underway. Game is starting to take shape, very broadly, very loosely. I know it looks shit, so thank you very much. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, and the like button, and the share button, and everything, and that would be awesome. So thank you very much. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you very soon. Bye!